In this video, we're going to write the equation of a polynomial from a graph. The first thing we need to notice is where the zeros are on the graph, and the zeros are just the x-intercepts here at -1, 0, 1, and 3. They also give us an extra piece of information and tell us to use the point 212 to find the leading coefficient, which we'll get to in a little bit. The first thing we need to do is to write an equation for each of those zeros, and that's just by writing that x equals -1, x equals 0, x equals +1, and x equals 3. After that, we need to rewrite each of those equations so that they are equal to 0. So this first one means we're going to add 1 to both sides, and that gives me that x plus 1 equals 0. The second one is already equal to 0. The third one, we're going to subtract 1 from both sides, and that will give us x minus 1 equals 0. And finally, subtract 3 from both sides of this last one to get x minus 3 equals 0. The next step we need to do is to multiply the non-zero side of each of those equations together. So I'll have x plus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 3. Now, that's not the entire polynomial because we don't know what the leading coefficient is. I'm going to use the letter a to represent the leading coefficient in this, and we're going to call this polynomial f of x. So what they told us to do is they asked us to use the point 212 up here as the x and y to find the leading coefficient a. So we know that the 2 here is going to represent the x, and the 12 is the y, but in this case we're using f of x, so I'm going to substitute 12 in for f of x. So I have 12 equals a times, and again x we just talked about is 2 plus 1 times 2, and then 2 minus 1, and 2 minus 3. And now we're just going to simplify each of those quantities on the right-hand side. So 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, times 2, times 2 minus 1 is 1, and 2 minus 3 is -1. When we multiply those values on the right-hand side, 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 1 is 6, and then 6 times -1 gives us -6. The last step to find a is to divide both sides by -6, and that gives me that a is equal to -2. So now I can write the full function, f of x equals a we just found is -2, and my other products or factors that we have are x plus 1 times x minus 1 times x plus 3. And that is your polynomial in factored form. To write the equation in standard form, you would need to multiply those all together, but we'll do that in another video. Have a great day!